What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. This is Brandon from Vegas. Won't You Be My Neighbor, our live real estate podcast. As always, we're here with my special guest, Mr. Bill Gaylord. I missed the high five for like the second time in a row. Good for me. Bill, it's good to see you again.
Nice seeing you, Brandon.
For those of you guys who don't know, Bill is a big shot over at Cross Country Mortgage. If you contact me for real estate, this is the guy you're going to be talking to. He handles pretty much everything. Bill, what states are you able to work in again?
You know, Brandon, everyone.
All of them?
All of them. We do all of them.
Delaware?
Delaware.
New Hampshire?
New Hampshire. New York.
Vermont?
New Jersey. Vermont.
Maine?
Maine.
South Carolina?
North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, all of them. North Dakota.
North Dakota?
Yeah.
Montana?
Yep.
All the
Idaho.
Even the little small ones that nobody.
Even the little small ones.
That's pretty
Florida.
impressive, man. You're an
Florida,
impressive fella,
Texas
right?
is small.
Oh, Texas. Yeah, we get a lot of Texas people out in Vegas nowadays. So
Yeah.
Texas is a big one,
Yeah.
man. There's a lot of things coming to Vegas right now, too.
I love Vegas. I could talk about Vegas all day long. Robert's laughing because I always go on one. It's awesome.
What's your favorite thing that you've seen change in Vegas over the past couple of years?
You know, for me, I'm sports. I love sports. I love the fact that the Raiders are here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I got here, the Golden Knights started their inaugural season,
Yeah.
which was amazing, right? There was so many good things about that. The A's are coming. I know there's going to be an NBA team.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Aces. We've got champions. We got the Stanley Cup champions. We got the Aces, WNBA champions. I mean, we got sports now.
Yeah, we're the city of what's up?
No, I just had a question for Bill. So, Bill, when did you say you came to Vegas?
In 2018.
Okay, so real Vegas OGs like Brandon and I know. Have you ever been to Adventure Dome?
No.
All right, I just wanted
I've
to.
seen the Sphere. Does that count?
Brandon, I think you should take him for one of your videos.
To the Adventure Dome?
Yeah. I worked there for a couple years. My mom worked there for 10 years. My sister worked there for a couple years.
The Adventure Dome has changed.
What in the world is the Adventure
So
Dome?
attached to Circus used to be one of the premier hotels in Vegas, right?
Right.
Because it was the first hotel that catered to a younger demographic, more family audience. So when we were growing up, the Adventure Dome was like a theme park on the strip. So it was the one place your parents could take you and drop you off while they went and gambled
they
degenerately,
gambled,
right? And it was like Safe Quest or whatever the hell they have at Station Casinos now, right? Well, as Circus has, let's just say, lost a bit of its former luster, the Adventure Dome has gone. It's Halloween Horror Night every night at the Adventure Dome now. That's the safest way to
Halloween
finish the
Horror
statement.
Night.
Yeah. But look,
Okay, do I want to go to there?
oh, I'll take you as an adventure.
Okay,
We'll make a
okay,
whole
I'll go.
TikTok out of
Okay,
that.
all right.
We have the Sphere opening up soon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
F1 is finally going to stop ruining our
That's
streets.
Yeah. But you know what? You know what, though? I think it's awesome because the strips are going to be like immaculate.
Paved with gold, baby.
It is
Paved
paved
with
with
gold.
gold. Those streets are going to look so amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's just proof that Las Vegas will take money from just about anywhere.
Yes.
we don't care what rich country you come from. We're here for
We
it.
have the Super Bowl coming. I mean, that's,
Oh, my God.
I mean, that's not that far away. That's like 4 or 5 months.
Can I tell you an inside story?
Yes, please.
Oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna get myself in trouble for this one. My mother, someone I know,
Other than your mother.
that could have been mother-in-law. You never know where I'm taking this one. You never know. It could have been mommy. I could have some issues here.
Yeah.
Someone I know is very high up with Mandalay Bay spas and resorts.
Okay.
And their prices are going to be 10 times what they are now for F1. So if you were planning a spa or anything on the strip during F1, go ahead and cancel those reservations.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like everything is going to be 3 to 5 times more expensive.
You
that
mean like
weekend.
all the drinks,
Everything.
everything.
If a
food,
massage
everything.
was $200 an hour before, it's going to be $600, $800 an hour.
I didn't realize F1. F1 cars, all that kind of stuff. I didn't realize this is like one of the biggest sporting events in the world.
Most expensive sporting events. in the
Most
world.
expensive. Okay.
It caters to an incredible, because like think about it, to be an F1 driver, you can't just be some Joe Schmo. You have to be somebody's kid. You have to know some. It's a connected world because these race cars are $1 million supercars.
Yeah.
They're not just going to let any bum off the street
Like
drive
me?
it. Yeah, right. So it's going to be crazy.
I'm a good driver.
I believe that, but like, are you doing 200 miles per hour around like whipping turns and all
No,
that? No.
no.
Okay. What I wanted to get into and why we're talking about Las Vegas, because a lot of people are moving here, but what they're scared of right now are the rates.
Yes.
That's what's got everybody down,
Yes.
right? And a lot of times, as with every other topic we discuss, people are only getting one side of the story. And I like opportunities where you and I can give people both sides. Because as we always say, real estate is not black and white. Everyone wants a perfect answer from you. Hey, what are the rates going to be? Right? And you're like, well, okay, it depends on a bunch of factors. Where's the best place to buy a house? Well, again, depends on a lot of factors. I make $50,000. How much can I afford? But depends on a lot of factors, right? And what we're going to talk about today is buying down your rate. Now, if you go on the internet right now or social media, people are acting like this is God's, like it's been invented out of thin air to buy down your rate. And this has been around since when?
Forever.
Forever.
Pretty much.
But if you look on the internet,
Since I've been there.
they act like there's no cons to buying down your rate. I do deals all the time, and I'm like, hey guys, do you want to save money on the list price? Do you want to save money? No, let's just buy down our rate. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's other options, but let's go with that one. So I'm going to play the pros here. You're going to play the cons, which I think is great since you actually are the one they're going to go to buy down the rate. So let's start with the cons.
Okay.
What are the potential cons of buying down your rate? Because these are the ones that I don't think people have heard about.
Well, right now, if you're buying down your interest rate, in my opinion, you're throwing away your money.
Wow. Okay, that's bold. Why do you feel like they're throwing money away? Because a lot of people think that they're saving money.
Yeah, because interest rates right now, they're actually over 7% as of today.
Okay.
Right? So if you bought down your rate, say 0.5%, it might cost you, let's say a $500,000 loan. It may cost you at least $5,000 to buy down that rate to 6.5.
Yeah.
Right? Well, guess what? If you look at all the market indicators, there's just a huge likelihood that rates are going to drop well below 5.5% by the time you pay back that $5,000.
Yeah.
So the financial goals that you have long term, and everybody looks at, like you said, payment is a big thing. What's my payment? What is my payment going to be? Because they know what their budget is, they know what they can say, and then how much money am I going to need to spend? Mortgage payment makes a big difference. But they have to reconcile the fact that this investment that they go into real estate, it's long term.
Yeah.
It's going to be 10 years, 8 years. And so they have to look at it long term. Everyone's myopic right now.
Yeah. What you have to think about is what's the difference in what it's going to cost to buy down my rate now versus refinancing later when the rate drops, right? And I think one of the biggest issues we're facing is we live in an immediate world. Everybody wants they want the answer right now.
Right.
And it's like, okay, houses don't work that way, right? You're going to be living in this house. The average person now lives in their house for 5 to 8 years.
Right.
Right? Do you think the rates are going to drop over the next 5 to 8 years? Do you really need your mortgage payments to be reduced right now, this second?
Yeah.
Right? Is that $300 really going to kill you tomorrow or the month after?
Yeah, they're going to refinance, in my opinion. By the time, if they buy it down, they're not going to make up that $5,000 that they spent. The only way I would recommend someone buying down their rate is if they get into a contract and you have an amazing realtor like this guy over here,
The best.
that negotiates the seller paying down the interest rate and not them. If the seller pays it, it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah. I think it's a huge con if it comes out of your pocket. So, example.
Huge con.
Right now, Lennar is doing like a crazy interest rate deal, right? And people are like, well, how, people, whenever they see a deal that they feel to be too good, they're always like, well, how are they doing that? And I'm like, because they know, like we know, that the rate's eventually going to come down. They're only going to have to float this rate for a few months. Then everything's going to be normalized, right? So they're willing to put that money forward.
Well, I don't know. It's money out of their pocket, but the builders look at it as a business.
Yeah.
They're there to sell homes. A private resale is emotional.
Yeah.
They don't want to get rid of their house, or they want to know who's buying the house. The builder's like, I want to sell a house. How do I sell a house?
100%.
So they buy down the rates. They basically buy a forward commitment on a chunk of money, and then they give that back to the buyer.
Sure, because they know when you buy a new build house, this isn't something that you're going to flip quick. It's a new build. You're going to be in this even longer than a resale because it's customized.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, and new builds can be a really good place to be. And sometimes they will maybe put that in the cost of the home.
Oh, of
the
course,
home's a
of
little bit
course,
higher,
of course,
but
of course.
allows you to feel good about your payment,
Of
and you
course.
can certainly make it up.
But the goal is that they're paying for it.
They are paying for it.
You are not paying. Everybody see this on camera. One of the biggest deceptions that new builders and lenders who aren't Bill will try to put on you guys is they'll say, man, we'll give you a 6.5 interest rate. And you're like, oh my God. And then when you look on your numbers, they're charging you another, $12,000 for that rate. They're not giving you a 6.5.
No.
You're paying for the 6.5, which again is where we believe that buying down your rate is a con.
Yes.
If it's coming out of your pockets, to me, I think it's a con.
100%. I would, in this market, in this environment, I would try and pay as little closing costs as you possibly can, because you are going to refinance down the road.
Yep.
And it's just inevitable.
One of the things now where I think buying down your rate is a huge pro, and this is one of the examples I make, when interest rates are higher, it's ladies' night at the bar. Okay, you'll hear me make this analogy all the time. It's more negotiable when you're going to buy the house. People are like, well, Brandon, the prices. And I'm like, dude, put an offer in $30,000 lower. What are you talking about the prices? Like, no house is going to show up and be like, it's okay, I'll take $30,000 off, right? Just like you're not going to go to the bar and some girl is going to be like, hey, look at me, I'm super easy tonight. That's never going to happen, right? No house is going to be like, hey, I'll sell for cheap,
Yeah.
right? But that's why you negotiate. And we did on my live class, we did a mortgage calculator. It's not as good as yours, but it's a rough one,
Yes.
right? And we said, okay, here's your numbers if you take $10,000 off the list price. Okay, you would save about $42 to $50.
Right.
Here's what happens when you take $10,000 and put it towards buying
Closing
down
costs.
your rate.
Yeah.
Now you're over 100.
Yeah.
And yet people keep trying to get money off the list price, and they don't even know why. That's what they've seen in movies. That's what their parents have told them. Make sure you get $10,000 off the list price. That $10,000 is going to save you $45 a month.
Yeah.
That's what? 9 Starbucks orders? That's what you're working for, is 9 Starbucks orders a month? If you took that same $10,000 and let the seller pay for it,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Instead of asking for $20,000 off the list price, which, as you and I know, sellers take their houses personally.
They do. It's hard.
When you tell them, I want $20,000 off your house, what you're saying to them is, I think your house sucks. That's what they hear in their head. I think your house isn't as good as you thought it was. That's insulting, right?
Correct.
When you say, hey, times are tough, the rates are up, we're willing to pay list price for your house. It's a beautiful house, but we need some help with the interest rate. We need $20,000.
Right.
You're getting the same money. But you're not insulting the seller, and you're saving more on your side.
Definitely saving more on their side. And it makes sense. It becomes a win-win, right? You can win for the buyer, you can win for the seller, and it just makes sense for the buyer to have that peace of mind with a little lower mortgage payment in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then eventually maybe it'll even drop further.
Yeah.
And the real estate is long-term, right? The ability to make up that difference is going to come over time just with home prices going up.
Yeah. For people out there, now it's not me, because clearly I know the answer, but for people who may not know the answer out there, what is the cost of buying down your interest rate?
Well,
Does it change from house to house or state to state?
Yeah, in general, if you pay 1 point, which is 1% of the loan amount, so
1% of the loan amount,
of the loan amount,
not the price of the house.
correct,
It's the loan,
the loan,
which is important because it means if you put down a larger down payment, right, your loan is smaller, which means buying down your rate significantly easier.
yeah. So if you bought a home for $500,000 and you put 5% down, that would be a $475,000 loan amount. So the 1 point would be 1% of $475,000, and that 1 point will typically buy the interest rate down in this market about 0.3%.
Which is pretty impressive.
It's good.
I like to use a $100,000 house or a $300,000 house because it's a round number, and $300,000 house is pretty much the price of a really, really nice condo or townhome in Las Vegas. So it's a fair number for people to go off of, right? So you have a $300,000 house.
Can I back up?
Yeah.
So if it costs you 1 point, right, 1%, and it's saving you 0.3%.
Yeah.
I know these numbers kind of mess
It's
up.
it's weird.
Let me do it differently.
Yeah.
If it costs you 1 point and you're saving 0.25%
Sure, so-
on the interest rate,
Sure.
it will generally take about 4 years to pay back that point.
Yeah,
Okay. So are you going to refinance within those 4 years right now?
most likely.
Almost guaranteed.
Man, do that again for them, because that's these are numbers that I actually need to put forth to people more, because the way you said it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. In the past, if you paid 1 point,
Yeah.
you would be able to buy down the interest rate 0.25%. It's a little bit more right now just because of the market. But if
Yeah.
you paid 1 point and you saved 0.25 point on the interest rate, it'll take you 4 years to essentially pay back that point.
100%. So think about the money you're spending to buy down that point right now. Some people, and this is why such immediate action often doesn't benefit people as much as they think. It's going to take you 4 years to pay that back. And in those 4 years, I'm telling you right now, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't. But in the next 4 years, I'm pretty sure the interest rate's going to come down.
Yeah, all the forecasters, all the big wigs, the MBA, Mortgage Bankers
Yeah.
Association, National Association of Realtors, all of them are saying that rates will be in the 5s by the end of next year.
That's what I'm saying.
And so to me, it's like, if it takes 4 years and you're going to refinance in 12 to 18 months, you're throwing your money away.
We just sold a house to a gentleman and said, if you're watching, this is for you, because you called me last night and I told you I would do this for you. He bought a house, right? In fact, I think you were the lender on this one, so it'll be easy. He bought a house and he called me yesterday. He's like, "Hey man, how do we get to that 20% to avoid PMI? Like, what's the best way to do this? Should I buy a pool and solar and all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, hey, instead of spending $100,000, just trying to putting it back to the mortgage, like put that money towards something you're actually going to use. Are you going to enjoy the pool? Yeah, then get the pool."
Right.
Right? Like, if you have that much money to just put down on the loan, just put down a larger down payment,
Yes,
right? Like,
yes.
If you want to lower the mortgage payment, don't do it after the loan. Just put down a larger down payment up front, right?
Right.
It'll make the discount points cheaper. It'll make your mortgage cheaper. It'll make it easier. A lot of people think like, "Oh, I'm going to buy the home for this, and then I'll put down a bunch of money after." It's like, no, that's the more expensive way to do it.
Yeah.
Use that money to boost your home, make it more valuable in ways that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah. And from an appraisal standpoint, if you're putting a pool in afterwards, you will not get as much value as the pool costs.
Yeah.
So when they value properties, a pool does not provide the cost.
Oh yeah,
of
I
it.
love
So you may get 50%.
50%. I love telling people you can go build a gigantic resort style pool with all the custom marbling and all the upgrades and the pebble tech and all that stuff. When an appraiser sees your house, he sees a house with a pool. Right?
House with a pool.
He sees a house with a pool. He don't care if your neighbor's pool costs $50,000 and your pool costs $100,000. It's a house with a pool.
And a lot of times what they do is they take a comparable. They say this house sold without a pool for $500,000. This house sold with a pool and it sold for $525,000. So there's an adjustment of $25,000. That pool probably cost $50,000.
$50,000, 100%.
Yeah.
And it blows people's mind because they think, well, I bought a super duper $130,000 pool. Okay, great.
Doesn't work that way.
Someone's just going to buy the cheaper house, my guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
hey, we can price your house for the $100,000 pool. We can make your $500,000 house. I can list it for $600,000. But someone's just going to buy the $525,000 house with a pool. I'm just being real.
100%. It's best to buy the house with a pool
100%.
if you want a pool,
Yeah.
rather than buy the house and put a pool in.
Yeah.
Long term, it saves you money.
100%. And buying a pool does increase the future
Value,
value of
for
the house.
sure.
But I tell people, don't buy a pool just to raise the value. Buy the pool to enjoy it.
100%.
Worry about the value afterwards.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But a lot of times too, the PMI might just be able to be dropped just with home price appreciation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could take a year or two.
And that's for
Sometimes
conventional
3.
loans, correct?
Conventional loans.
Conventional loans.
Yeah.
Right. I think we covered that last, but just for people to be aware of this, if you're freaking out about mortgage insurance, if you have an FHA loan, once you hit 20% in equity or cash, you can refinance it and eliminate PMI.
Correct.
If you have a conventional loan, what's the play there to get rid of mortgage insurance?
So if you have a conventional loan, you would call the company that you make your mortgage payment to, say, I want to see if my property is appreciated enough to remove mortgage insurance. And then they'll say, let's get an appraisal, and they just drop it.
Yep. Anytime we bring up mortgage insurance or anything like that, I'm always going to have you just remind the audience in case they didn't catch previous episodes on. A lot of you guys are sitting out there with conventional mortgages and you just haven't reached out to your lender, whoever has your mortgage, to be like, hey, have I made enough to eliminate this mortgage insurance?
I mean, if you've been in your home and you got a conventional mortgage in the last 3 years and you still have mortgage insurance, call the company you currently have your mortgage with and say, I want to remove my mortgage insurance. And they'll go through that process.
Yep. To finish off today, you guys, I always want to leave you with a note. The information for you guys to learn on the best way to buy down your rate, the best times to buy down your rate, it's out there. Bill is sitting next to me and he's a free source. Bill doesn't just educate the audience, he educates me so I can educate you guys. So I will remind you every single day, if you own a home, if you've owned a home for the past 3 to 5 years, reach out to Bill. He can help you find the best way to utilize your equity, adjust your mortgage insurance, everything you guys need to start making money. Bill, how much does it cost to call you?
Zero.
Nothing?
And the other thing that I want to say is, like, I'm here to basically say, you've got a 2%, 2.5%, 3% interest rate, keep it. Just remove the mortgage insurance. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to advise you the best way to save money.
100%. Bill, thank you as always for showing up, man. I appreciate the advice that you give my audience and I appreciate your time. I'm Brandon from Vegas. Bill, where can they find you guys?
I don't know. Is this?
Oh, right here? Is that
right
where they
here.
can
That's
find
it
you?
right there.
Hey, shout out your socials because I see you, man. You on TikTok, you on Instagram.
Okay.
Where can they find you?
At o.gaylord.
At o.gaylord on Instagram. If you guys see him on Instagram, I tag him in all my videos. You guys send him a direct message. Call. I know we're in the millennial generation, we're in the younger generation. If you guys are uncomfortable calling, hit his website. If you're uncomfortable with the website, slide in his DMs, y'all. Just get in there and slide headfirst into those DMs. He's about that life.
Can I tell you why it's o.gaylord?
Why is that?
My wife. So when I do something crazy, because I always do something crazy, she's like, oh, Gaylord.
Oh, Gaylord.
Oh,
I can
Gaylord.
hear it in her voice, too.
But when I get sexy on her,
Ah.
oh, Gaylord.
Oh, Gaylord.
Oh, Gaylord.
My man. My man, pots and pans. Come on. Come on. And as always, guys, I'm Brandon from Vegas. You go to your Google, type in Brandon from Vegas, all platforms, all socials, things like that. It's a pleasure to hang out with you guys. Thank everybody for the time watching today. Come and be my neighbor.
Bye, everybody.